Hi, everybody. I already started doing my taxes. Have you? The U.S. tax code is one of the biggest sources of personal and political tension. Inordinate tax cuts for the rich have left us with staggering wealth inequality and class stratification. But what else is hiding in our broken system, and how can we make sure tax policy can support progressive priorities? With me now to discuss, Eric Pierre, a CPA and the CEO, owner, founder, and principal of Pierre Accounting. Eric, thank you so much for joining me on the program today.
Thank you, Julianna, for having me today.
It's just great to have you, and I appreciate you coming out in this horrible weather, even though you're still in your house, but still.
Yeah, well, I'm blessed to be able to have my electricity and be able to have food and water, so it could be worse. So
yeah, the gratitude list has moved to the basics at this point. Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what the new Biden administration's tax plan is and what it means for working families.
Okay, well, there's a lot to the Biden tax plan, so I'm just going to try to go over some high points of it. Some things that the people want to know. That now, when I say these things, there's no guarantee that these things are going to happen, but these are some of the key things that the administration would like to do. So this is I'd say his wish list. So one of the things is the raise in corporate taxes from 21 to 20%, and add a minimum book profit tax for corporations with $100 million or more. So that's just a way for them to get corporations to make a lot of money to, as you would say, pay their fair share. The administration would also like to incentivize companies to offer retirement savings plans by offering tax credits to companies that offer those plans for the companies. Because as we know, Americans, we don't do a good job of saving for retirement. So this would be a way to incentivize.
How can we? Under the current,
right.
Yeah,
right. But just saying, he wants to give a tax credit to get employers to offer that, so that way employers can start offering more employers can offer match programs. So a lot of people, the match is usually like 2 to 3%, and you put in that much, the employer matches it. So they like to see more of that. Now, for the higher earners, you were talking about wealth gap. They're looking to raise the individual income tax rate for people making $400,000 above. That every dollar above $400,000 be taxed around 40%. And then the one key tool tax rate which allows ultra wealthy people to save, which I help consult with this. So some of my clients may not like me reading what Biden wants to do, but right now long-term capital gains are at 23.8%. The president wants to raise that to 43.4%.
What effect do you think that will have?
That would change a lot of investing activity, because the one concern, though, even though that you want to target ultra wealthy people, if you have a lot of middle class people invest in stocks, you hold an asset like a stock or a house for more than a year, you have the capital gain. Now you have to pay even more tax. Instead of 20% plus the 3% net investment tax, now you're paying close to half, and that's the federal. And some people live in states where you have a capital gain, so the unintended consequence could be middle class people could end up paying more taxes on long-term assets.
And then, well, that's not good. You're being pressed on all sides. This is ridiculous.
Now, Social Security taxes will be raised on people making over $400,000. Right now, the cap on Social Security tax is $142,800. So everybody would be able to pay on Social Security taxes, which would be a good thing.
Just for clarity, when you say the cap is $142,000, what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so I'll give you a quick example. Let's say I work for you. Okay, you're my boss. I work for Fulano Corp. I'm your CFO. You pay me a salary of $250,000. Under the current tax law, I'm only paying Social Security taxes on the first $142,800. The remaining $110,000, I'm not paying Social Security taxes right now.
Okay, well, that seems quite unfair, given. Okay, I don't think we have to talk more about that. It's quite plain what's going on. Yes, good.
Right. So that's one way of potentially, closing the gap is, every single dollar is being paid to Social Security. Now, Mr. Biden also wants to eliminate what's known as Section 1031 like kind exchanges in real estate for real estate investors that have income of $400,000 or more. Now, most wealthy people invest in real estate, and what Section 1031 exchanges is basically, I own a rental property. I'm allowed to sell that property and exchange it within a certain period of time to get another investment property, and I can defer my tax on that. So wealthy people or investors can defer tax for a long period of time. As long as you exchange from like kind to like kind, you can keep rolling and never pay tax as long as you never take hold of the money. So this administration wants to say, if you're wealthy, we expect you to start paying tax when you exchange real estate.
How much of this is going to mitigate against what Trump did during his 4 years of the tax policy?
Well, that's uncertain because you have to remember, one, they have to pass it, and then the 1031 exchange, in my experience, 1031 exchanges are actually, from what I see my clientele, are usually done by more of the middle class investors, because high net worth investors, what they do, they hire people like me who do advanced tax planning and find strategies to where I can sell a $5 million piece of property and then use an exotic tax strategy to get the cash out and not even worry about paying 20% capital gains. And so with some of these proposals, you may end up not hitting the people that you're intending to hit.
That's not great. What is he doing about the corporate tax rate, which seems incredibly low if you compare it to, say, what the corporate tax rate was under FDR, and that is a president who was dealing with some similar situations that we're dealing with our economy now?
Right. Well, I had mentioned this earlier, but he wants to raise it from 21 to 28%. Now, before the Trump administration, we had a graduated corporate tax, but there was more loopholes. So the average tax rate paid by corporations in the United States was around 21%. So the administration decided to take the loopholes out and put a flat number, which actually impacted, small businesses that are C corporations. If you're a C corporation and your small business making $100,000 profit, you're hit with $21,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. What? I heard that Amazon paid like $0 in taxes. Will some of those loopholes they slipped out of be closed?
Well, that's a great question. So, and some of that's a misnomer. Now, when you hear that Amazon paid zero taxes, sorry about that, shaking. They do still pay payroll taxes because they employ people. And then there were a lot of incentives that Amazon received for buying all the real estate in your community, where communities were giving them tax abatements. And then they could take accelerated depreciation on a $10 million building, and which allowed them to have net operating losses to carry forward to wipe out income. So it's not quite as simple as like Amazon didn't pay any taxes. It's just that they got incentives for invest in their communities. And so I'm not necessarily a proponent of Amazon, but I do know that most of us do buy from them. And that if we want, and so they're creating jobs in the neighborhood. And so our tax system rewards right now business owners to incentivize to grow so they can hire more people and tax the workers, since as a business owner, you're taking the risk of your capital. So that's what the theory
but it
is.
seems like Bezos has a lot lot He's not risking much anymore. He's going to be all right. His kids are fine.
I said theory. I said theory. Okay, so
what can we do anything with tax policy to like make sure he doesn't make so much more than his, you know what I mean? We like give him a tax break and then he makes $1 jillion. He pays the people who work there 15 cents. Sure, he's creating jobs, but like people who are in those jobs still have to like get food stamps. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything we could do with tax policy to like rein in? Because it from the outside observer, it just looks like they should have no tax breaks for job creation because look how much money the guy is making on his own.
Well, I think the best way, but not necessarily tax policy, it'd be we'd have to shift our spending habits. If you really feel that way about Mr. Bezos, I would suggest you stop shopping with him.
I need him to bring the stuff.
Okay, so you have the ultimate catch-22.
Yeah.
Because if unfortunately, the way our system works right now, if you target the ultra wealthy too much, they'll make moves that hurts us. So we would have to totally redo our tax system. If you look originally, wages were not supposed to be taxed, only property. And so we'd have to go back to that system.
Can we go back to that? That seems good.
Oh, I would love to go back to that, but the elite may not agree with that.
And they're the ones with the power and the money. Let's talk about the environment. How does the Biden tax plan incentivize the nation to be more environmentally friendly?
Well, right now, Biden is looking to increase more tax credits for things like solar panels, electric cars. Currently, if you buy an electric car like a Tesla, you get $7,500 under the current tax plan. He's looking to increase that. And we're starting to see states such as California require that all cars be electric by 2035. So I would look for more of those kind of requirements. But of course, in places, like in Texas, Big Oil will have something to say about that before that's all said and done.
So the first round of payroll protection program loans failed business owners, mostly people of color, namely Black business owners. How can we ensure that business owners of color get fair treatment in the next round?
That's a great question. Well, part of the failure was that, people in my community, we didn't necessarily do a good job of keeping good books and records because, I have a client that's actually underwriter for Chase, and a lot of minority business owners were rejected, not because of that, because actually Chase did have programs where they were set aside money begging for minority business owners to take it. But if you don't have organized, payroll records, financial statements, you're not going to get the money because the SBA and the bank have to feel comfortable that the numbers you are providing are accurate.
That seems important.
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole world is totally nuts right now. So there's no school. It's hard to do the accounting at the job if you have your kid yelling at you all that. It's just like there are processes and there are things happening right now that upend normal business as usual. So I wonder if there's a way that we could make adjustments for that. I mean, you're not going to be like, hi, I'm a small business. Can I get those payroll protection program loans and, not have any taxes or documents or whatever. Although Trump seems to be doing very well without showing his taxes and without showing a lot of paperwork. So I wonder if there's a way.
New York State is going after him pretty hard. I think that will be changed shortly regarding that. But I would say for a small business owner, you should consult with a tax professional, firms such as mine that can help you organize your records. There's all kinds of software such as, QuickBooks has inexpensive software for extremely small business, QuickBooks self-employed. They give you a 6-month subscription for $5 a month. You can easily, swipe right or left on your phone and you have organized financials.
I'm that person with the mess in the
we could definitely help you,
All right, I'm going to call you afterwards. You can get in touch with Eric on Twitter at YourFaveCPA, which is the greatest handle for a CPA I've seen. And the website is fairaccounting.com, PIERRE accounting, which I'm going to assume that you, if you're watching the show, know how to spell .com. Final question of this round Eric, progressives often talk about taxing the rich and the failure of trickle-down economics, but the U.S. tax code has a lot more potential to bolster a progressive agenda than just those issues. What should we be focused on that we're not already talking about?
One thing that I would definitely focus on that would, since you mentioned people of color and the wealth gap, is that the administration is looking to regulate the appraisal process. And the reason that's important is that according to a 2018 study by Brookings, homes that were in Black-owned neighborhoods were appraised 23% less than in neighborhoods that were not Black-owned. This led to an average disparity price of $48,000, which nationwide led to a $156 billion gap. That's one thing that you want to keep your eye on, because real estate is often our most valuable asset. This is one of the biggest sources of wealth because you can transfer real estate, you can 1031 real estate, and you can also do home equity loans to start businesses, to go invest in other things. And with these kind of discrepancies, then people of color are also denied housing. And in the way our country's set up, if we don't have access to real estate, it's hard for us to build wealth and to transfer it generationally.
Well, that's a whole nother interview, Eric. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you pointing out these things. It looks like the Biden administration is doing some stuff that will help you and me and the regular folk of this nation. We're speaking again to Eric L. Pierre. He is a CPA and the CEO, owner, founder, and principal of Pierre Accounting. Thanks so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
You're watching Act TV. Stick with us.